but I was getting punched in the head. And I'm not gonna say by who, but it was somebody in my family. I was getting punched in the head. Whack! 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 And I remember this overwhelming sensation arise in me. And this little voice in my head, my heart, my soul, the voice said, wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing this emotion with me. Thank you for feeling safe enough to share this big emotion with me, this anger, this pain, this hurt. And to share that with me because you trust me enough, or you feel safe enough with me to experience that with me, to direct that at me. And I had this overwhelming state of forgiveness, of love and gratitude. Kia ora whānau, welcome back. My third video. This one is a bit of a vulnerable one. I've shared this story many times, but I'm recently approaching it with a new way and being a bit more reserved on who was involved. This is my story of forgiveness and my story of how I experienced forgiveness and the framework that I created around forgiveness, which is called the triangle of forgiveness. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, like, comment, let me know how I can improve my channel. And yeah, kia ora whānau. Kia ora whānau, no mai, bienvenidos la familia. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I hope I'm getting better at these videos. Still feeling the nervousness of posting. I can feel it on my solar plexus, and the parts of me that are nervous, a little fearful of being vulnerable and being seen. But anyway, first I'll share Karakia, and then we'll get on with it, eh? So I'll invite you to allow your eyes to come to a close. Manawa mai te mauri, nuku manawa mai te mauri, rangi kia mahora ki te whakaaro, kia mahora ki te aroha, kia mātou, kia pakuri, kia aroha tētahi ki tētahi, i oranga wairoa, hi oranga hinengaro, hi oranga tīnana, hi oranga whānau, kia mauri tū, kia mauri ora, tihei mauri ora. That was a Karakia Māori prayer for healing. Anyway, what I want to share about today is my path of forgiveness. My path of forgiveness. Now, as I share the story, I'm going to share very vaguely on who was involved, just out of respect for their own journey of life. So yeah. And so forgiveness. Forgiveness was a big part of the path that I walked on, the path that I chose, the path that chose me, and this essence of who I am. And I remember very clearly when I was younger, maybe between the ages of 8 to 12. And during my childhood upbringing, I experienced quite a bit of physical abuse, and it comes up quite a lot in discussion with family members that witnessed it. Yeah, and this core memory that I have, I remember very clearly those 2 two occasions, very clearly. And one of them was I have a choice. I have a choice to get angry, build resentment, fester, and allow it to fester and create disease in my body. And I saw this vision of my future, of me walking down the path of addiction and violence. And I said to myself, I don't want to walk that path. I don't want to walk that path. Don't want to walk that path. And I remember in this moment, I was, and this is going to be a little graphic, but I was getting punched in the head. And I'm not going to say by who, but it was somebody in my family. I was getting punched in the head. Whack, whack, whack. And I remember this overwhelming sensation arise in me. And this little voice in my head, my heart, my soul, the voice said, wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing this emotion with me. Thank you for feeling safe enough to share this big emotion with me, this anger, this pain, and this hurt. And to share that with me because you trust me enough, or you feel safe enough with me to experience that with me, to direct that at me. And I had this overwhelming state of forgiveness, of love and gratitude for this person. And I witnessed my heart just be free of the hate that could fester, the anger, the resentment, like the mold that can get stuck in the body. And so that was the path that I chose in that moment. We could say by my higher consciousness, my heart, that just chose to walk the path of forgiveness. And yeah, from that moment, as I reflect now, and as I've reflected many times, and I've also shared this story many times, of wow, what an amazing awareness that I had at that time to choose that path of forgiveness, that path to love instead of hate, that part of me that chose to understand instead of create separation. And so I feel like my healing journey, my journey as a healer started in that moment when I chose forgiveness. Because I didn't walk and I didn't carry that burden into my adolescence, my teenagehood and my adulthood. Yes, there were different layers I got to experience of that forgiveness. So that was the first time I experienced that forgiveness. And I've had family members throughout my time say and just kind of reflect on the experience that I had as a growing child. I remember actually there was at that time it got to a point that was getting quite bad, and then I was given a choice to leave and go live with my grandmother, and she lived in the South Island, and I said yes, and I moved down there. And then I started to experience my freedom in many different ways, and I grew fast forward a bit, and I grew close to my big brother's girlfriend's mum. She became a bit of my mother nurturer. And I remember one time she said to me, and it's very clearly, I very clearly remember it. She said, "Cyrus, you've taught me about forgiveness." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Because of you forgiving the forgiveness you have for your family member, because I don't think I could ever forgive. And I still hold, yeah, so that's that. I'm also just trying to be respectful of those that are involved, so just kind of treading lightly on how I share story. Anyway, so that was my forgiveness. Now fast forward to about the age of 20, 22, 23, when I started to do anyway, fast forward to about like 23, when I found my first mentor. Well, my mentor found me, who was a healer and a clairvoyant, and she taught me this technique, which I would identify and label as a halfway house, halfway dimension. So imagine this is the physical realm, Earth, this is the astral realm, and then this is the middle realm. And here is, when she first introduced it to me, the meditation roughly went like, imagine a place you feel safe in. It could be a beach, it could be your house, it could be the forest, and this is your domain, this is your space you can go to for safety. And mine was this big forest. It was like a big cliff, there's a waterfall to my left, there was a river, and there was this huge forest. And everything in that dimension, in that realm, was, I knew exactly everything that was in that space. And so this was the space. Hey brother. Chill my boat. And so this was a space. I heard another name that someone had called it. They had called it it's like a space between the fourth and the fifth dimension. Anyway, I saw it on this other video. Anyway, so physical realm, astral realm, this middle realm, a halfway house, halfway dimension. And what this place served for, in that space of my forest, this beautiful river, this waterfall, I was asked to find a space in that space where there was only one way in and one way out, and I could lock that door as well. So for me, it was behind the waterfall in a cave, and there was a door there, and my cave was like an amethyst smoky quartz cave. There's a beautiful pool of like cleansing, amazing magical water. And what this place served as is people could come visit me, either dead or alive. And also different types of entities, different parts of myself can visit me. And I'll also do a video on how to create this place for yourself, a meditation, a guided meditation. So anyway, this would have been like maybe a couple months into my journey with my mentor. And there was this one time I clearly remember where this family member that I had forgiveness for, that I had gratitude for, showed up at that door and apologized to me. I let that person in and apologized to me for all the hurt that he had caused, for all the pain, and for driving me away, because he didn't know that we had left, or I had left, and he was really hurt, because he wasn't informed of me leaving. I say us because it was me and my brother. Yeah. Anyway, so I felt this wave of forgiveness on a different level, by what I'm going to label as his higher self came to me in this halfway realm and apologized to me, and we hugged it out. And so then this framework developed. This framework developed of the triangle, which I call the triangle of forgiveness. The triangle of forgiveness. Now you have your two base, point A, point B, and point C. Then you have the middle. And so this is a framework that I created, or that was created through my experience. Was I believe there are 3 ways for forgiveness, to experience forgiveness. A is to forgive yourself first. And so for me, it was forgiving myself for being in that experience and not hating myself. And yeah, forgiving myself was A. B is forgiveness in the higher realms, in the spiritual realms. So my higher consciousness, my etherical self, finding forgiveness and having that forgiveness conversation and exchange with the other person's higher self and the other person's higher consciousness. So that's C. And then there's the other way, the other way, we'll say, well, that was B. The other way was C, which is you find forgiveness physically together and you have a conversation about it. Now, I know that it's not possible to have that conversation physically, to have that conversation around it and find forgiveness that way, because this person doesn't communicate that way with words. But in this now moment, in the last couple of years, we're on good terms, and he's a big part of the family, and I've learned a lot from him. And yeah, just that conversation isn't available, but it is shown in different ways and actions. But having that conversation isn't available. So this triangle of forgiveness. And so if you are able to achieve 2 out of those 3, then the lightness you may experience, the healing you may experience is amazing, is exceptional. If you can experience all 3, even more beautiful. So the triangle of forgiveness.
Good to get some grounding in, brother.
Alright, brother.
Feel the beautiful energy around us.
Alright, that's why I'm here. So the triangle of forgiveness. Forgiving yourself, firstly and foremost. Finding forgiveness together in a physical conversation together and finding resolve. And or having forgiveness with the higher selves, the superconscious. You know, this is something that is also available. Having that forgiveness in the higher realms is for those that may have, you know, it's a typical dynamic for a child and their parent, and maybe their parent now is suffering from Alzheimer's, is in the hospital, is in care, and doesn't have good communication, or isn't able to communicate. So that conversation isn't quite available. So this is where having forgiveness with the higher consciousness, the super consciousness, is supportive. And to access that space is just your own work of dropping into the subtleties of your own existence, and then also this technique that I learned can also support that. So, the triangle of forgiveness. Now, yeah, I feel like it's quite a vulnerable space for me to share and share such vague terms, but still share what my experience was and be respectful for those that are involved, because all these people still have a big part of my life in this moment, and I've done a lot of healing to arrive here in this moment with all those that are involved. So thank you for your patience and thank you for understanding. So the triangle of forgiveness. And so my question to you in your own journey of forgiveness is, what what part of this triangle have you done or is available to you, and or if you haven't done, are you open to do and is available to you? The triangle of forgiveness. Yeah. So that's my corridor for today, is the triangle of forgiveness. And so thank you for listening. I will share with a little song to close. I release and I let go. All my troubles and my strife, I let Spirit guide my life. I am here for love. I release and I let go. All my troubles and my stripes, I let Spirit guide my life. I am here for love. I am here for love. I am here for love. Muri aroha whānau. Kia ora. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for allowing me to be seen and be vulnerable with my sharing and understanding of me being a bit vague on who was involved. Hope you learned something. I will do a deeper dive into the technique that I used and how to do that. And then also, I'm not too sure if a deeper dive into the triangle of forgiveness is needed because it kind of makes sense anyway. So, thank you very much, whānau. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following.